Hey everyone, we're excited to be here at the Catholic Homeschool Conference to help you, Catholic vendors and sponsors, better understand how to market in the digital space today. We are Fuzati. We are the largest Catholic marketing agency in the world. On this call or these presentations, we have Ryan Shield, who's the COO. We've got Jordan Watwood, who is the Director of Marketing. And we've got myself, John Heinen, the Vice President of Marketing.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction, John.
We're going to
a little bit about Fuzati. What Fuzati is we've been around for over 10 years. We've had the opportunity to work with so many Catholic clients, everyone from the Vatican to small religious orders, archdiocese, diocese, apostolates, and Catholics who work in the professional space. So I think we're going to be able to share a lot of insights on what has been successful for all these Catholic organizations and what is unsuccessful and will keep you spending money and not getting a return and growing your business and multiplying the talents the Lord has invested in you.
That's right. And the presentation is going to be broken up into 4 parts. The first part is going to be your website. The second part is going to be your social media marketing, both your organic social media pages and actually marketing in the social media realm. The third one is actually going to be email list building and email marketing. And then the fourth one is going to be better understanding the difference between macro and micro marketing. So let's jump right in and start talking about websites. And let's be honest, you've got every sort of possible website creator out there, right? We've got Wix, we've got Squarespace, we've got WordPress. And then once you find that website, how do you get a designer and a copywriter to focus on those? It is overwhelming today, but we want to talk about some basic principles that every website should have to help convert customers. So Jordan, if you want to start talking about what you think is the first and most important thing that your website should have.
Yeah. I think before diving into that, I think one of the things that we see a lot, and I'm sure this isn't unique to Catholic organizations or Catholic businesses, is a lot of organizations and entrepreneurs will spend a decent amount of money building a website, and then they kind of put it on the shelf and then they forget about it and they go do all kinds of other things. And a website really should be thought of as a living entity that evolves over time and follows the rhythms of your business or your organization and reacts to different trends in the marketplace. It shouldn't be something that's put on a shelf and left alone. It really should be thought of as one of your most valuable marketing channels. And by channels, I mean ways in which people can interact with your business or your organization. So if you have a website, which I'm sure you do, how long has it been since your website was last updated or when it was built? If you don't spend much time looking at your website or thinking through what does a potential customer think when they come to my website? What am I saying to them? How am I speaking to them? Is this clear? Now's probably a great time to do a quick and informal audit of your website. Just take a look through and put yourself in the shoes of your customer. So I would say that, if you're looking at what are the most important things to do as it relates to a website, I would say number one is that put yourself in the shoes of your customer and go through your website. Pretend that if you sell products, pretend that you are a customer trying to check out and buy a product online. How easy is that? Where are there friction points? How much are you charging for shipping? Things like that could deter customers from wanting to follow through with a purchase. If your organization is trying to generate email subscribers or leads that you'll follow up with sales calls, what is that experience like for the customer? What kind of things are you not telling them about your organization that they might want to know? So do that. And if you have a really hard time, which is totally understandable, putting yourself in the customer's shoes, go find some folks that you can put your website in front of and have them tell you their feedback. Even a trip down to a local coffee shop or Starbucks and just say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee if you'll look at my website, tell me what you think. What is this saying to you? Do you know what we do? Can give you a whole lot of insight. Guys, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Jordan, that's almost kind of like looking at a website ontologically. What is a website? What category of thing is a website? And why do we even have one? A lot of people just think, well, I have to have a website. Why? Why do you have to have a website? What role does it play in your organization or business? And then who is the intended target, Jordan, like you're speaking to? So often you'll find people talking about themselves on their website and why we are great, what we have done. But you're putting yourself then almost in a boastful position, which people don't react to. They want to know what's in it for them. How are you helping me? Because this is not something that is meant to be a pure promotion for you. It's meant to be a way for a person to interact with you.
Right.
And here's one other thought about websites is that they really need to look professional. Okay. A lot of times a website will be a standard thing in an organization, and it's either, performs well or doesn't. But a bad website will get people to dismiss your organization out of hand without even thinking or considering whether your organization has something to offer to them. So to at least get the opportunity to have somebody consider you, your website has to look modern, updated, and use some of the best practices. And again, focus on what's in it for the person visiting, not just being a billboard for your accomplishments.
One thing that you mentioned that I think is really great, and this is what I would put as like number 2 or 3 on the list of things that are of importance when it comes to your website, is what story are you telling, right? You mentioned you don't want it to be too boastful or all about you, and you're exactly right. Every brand, so humans live within the context of story. It's just how we are, right? We are captivated by stories. We're attracted to stories. That's why we go to the movies. It's why we read books. It's why we do everything that we do. And if you put your business or organization in the context of a story, it's going to help the visitors to your website fall into that familiar pattern, and they'll want to read more. They'll want to engage more, because we can't just, we have to see what the ending is, right? So what is the story for your business, and does your website reflect that? And every story has a few different characters. If stories didn't have drama in them, why would we read them, right? If everything was rainbows and sunshine and there was no conflict, there would be no interest. So your business or organization exists to solve some conflict or problem for someone. So articulate that. Articulate who your ideal customer is in the context of this story, and tell it clearly through your website, so that when people go to your website, they identify, oh, this is me. And yes, I have this problem, and this is the solution. I've been looking for this, and it checks all the boxes. If your website doesn't have a story and is just telling, random facts that are disjointed, things about your organization, we were founded 20 years ago, and nobody cares about that as much as they care about the story and the problem that you're solving for them.
That's right. No one sits down and reads a dictionary or an encyclopedia for enjoyment. And too often websites, they want to make themselves the main character. I think maybe in the analogy of Lord of the Rings, you don't want to be, Frodo or Sam or whomever. You want to be Gandalf. You want to be the wise person providing the guidance and the expertise, because everyone sees themselves on this journey going to wherever it is that they want to go. You be the one who provides them the clear path and the protection to get and achieve what they're looking for.
That's right. And I think it's really important to break this down to a little bit of a practical guidance. And one thing that I wanted to mention is when you're doing that audit of your website, look at it both on desktop and on mobile. Know your data. Like, are people going to it on your phone? And try and get actual data points, because we have so many clients that come to us and think, no, everybody's on desktop. And then we look over in Google Analytics and we see that it's 58% desktop, 42% mobile phone. Well, 42% is somebody you don't want to ignore. So you want to take a look at that as well. But talking more into this, the essence of your website and the story that you're telling, it is really important not just to sell products, right? You're bringing somebody on a story. Likewise, we've had a number of clients that have come to us, and unfortunately, their website is literally just like a catalog, JCPenney's catalog or something that was sent to them in the mail, and you just open it up and you're just looking at different products to purchase, but you don't understand what solution or how easy this is going to be. So we talk about over here that you have less than 5 seconds on your homepage when somebody lands on your homepage to make that decision to continue further. And in those 5 seconds, you really want to voice the problem that you are solving. That will emotionally connect you to somebody so that they want to take it down and go further into your website. Yes.
John, how much of a website's homepage can you get through in 5 seconds?
You're right, exactly. Very little, like just the
Right.
beginning.
That's
And,
right.
and even then, not even all the menu buttons. So simplifying that homepage and again, captivating them with the story. Remember, and the final thing that I'm going to say about websites is the website is not about you. When we go on to social media marketing, it's not about you. It is about your customer. The whole website, Ryan was mentioning being Gandalf or the guide, the whole website needs to come around. Let's be honest, the world revolves around each individual customer that comes to your website. They're thinking about their family. They're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you and whether your profit line is looking good, whether you're going to hit your goals this quarter. They don't care about any of that stuff. And like what Jordan was saying, they don't really even care so much about your history either. They just want to know, can you help them with this problem that they're facing currently?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been said before that marketing identifies an anxiety that people have, it amplifies that anxiety, and then it proposes a solution to solve that anxiety. You should look through your website homepage through that lens. Are you articulating an anxiety or a problem that people have? And are you making it personal, amplifying it, and then allowing the solution to be clear? I think one of the last things that I would say that is super duper important for a website is clarity. Can people tell what you do or what you offer? And if you offer many things, what are the most important things to get your customer into a funnel to engage with your brand? Clarity is key. Cute and clever don't work. If you kind of have a bend towards puns or fun, cute and clever little joke things, that's great personally, but your business should be clear. Make it extremely clear what you do and how this will solve the problem that your customer has. Make it clear the entire way through the process. That's why we often encourage our clients to map out what that process is. How are the 1, 2, 3, 4 ways that you'll progressively engage with our brand and will lead you to the desired solution that you have? You've got a problem. Here's 3 steps to get to your solution.
That's right. And, another thing kind of continuing in this analogy, if you've got them now to consider at least going on this journey with you, you don't want to propose so many different roads to go that they are paralyzed or crippled with fear to make a decision even to go further. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make on websites is their menu. Their menu will have 10 items across and a drop down of 10 and hundreds of options. No one wants that many options because the confused mind intrinsically says no. So what you have to do is very clearly, Jordan, like you said, 1, 2, 3. What is the problem? How do we solve it? And what is the steps to go about actuating it? Very simple. Not check out our pictures, check out 36 different categories, our story. Your menu should be exactly and incredibly clear so that the people going to your page don't even have the option to go down a route that would lead them to where you don't want them to go. And we call that a customer journey. We want the journey of your page to be so clear with road markers and maps and waylays telling them exactly this is how to go. Click here to do X, to buy X, to achieve Y. That's a very important part that people miss in their websites.
And I think it points to something that John mentioned earlier. You may have enough content or enough products or enough services to fill a menu 10 wide and 20 deep. All of those things are important to you, but the website is about your customer, not about you. What's important to the customer and will guide them to engage with your brand in a meaningful and life-changing way. There are going to be many of those 10 wide and 20 deep things that really are not important to the customer at this time, but there will be a few that are. So think about it, get yourself out of the way. It's hard to do, especially because you've probably poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of time into building your business or organization to where it is. Step out of the way, think about the customer and what's important to them, and that will dramatically reduce those different paths down to just a few.
Agreed. And so the final thing I'll say about a website is it's really important to make your website for your first time customers, right? So somebody who already knows those 10 wide, 20 deep, they don't need a website that is, going to guide them. They know exactly where they're going to go, but that cold audience, that person that doesn't know who you are, that's who we're designing our homepage of our website for. And one thing that is also so important is that CTA, that call to action. They need to know what you're doing. I said it at the beginning, your website is your cash register. We kind of all understand that, but a cash register that's appealing, that somebody wants to be to, but let's not forget that CTA needs to appear in that upper right corner. It needs to appear frequently throughout the page. We have not seen websites that overdo call to actions to purchase or to take the next action step that you want them to take. So make sure, take a look at those. See if somebody has to scroll, especially on a phone. If they have to scroll 2 or 3 times before they see that CTA again, your website's missing the mark. It should show up every single time they move their thumb one direction or scroll down on their computer. So those are just a couple high-level things. I will say that there's something called a transitional CTA that we'll get into, or transitional call to action. We'll get into that in our email list building. But for now, these are some basics that we can all use to take a look at our websites, better our websites, and honestly, better the conversion of people that are coming to our websites.
Yeah, and I think an important thing is use professionals if you don't have somebody on your team who has the skills to make a website. I see so often someone's like, oh, I know somebody who kind of does websites, and you are going to end up spending as much money because either they're going to charge the same amount or they're going to have to redo the website 3 or 4 times to get it right. Doing something right the first time is almost always more cost effective than trying to nickel and dime and having to redo it a bunch of times. So if you can't find someone professionally, you can always reach out to us, fuzati.com, Fuzati.com, or go online and search for people who have really good reviews, or go and find websites of groups that are either competitors or look like what you want your website to look with, and find out who built their site. That's a really good way to get a website developer who's going to get you something that's going to get results.
Yeah. And if we can, let's just summarize what we went through, just to kind of give you a list of the things you should do. So, I'm not going to put them in any particular order, but review your website, do an informal audit of your website, put yourself in the shoes of your customer as you look through the website. What story is your website telling? Is it even telling a story? Make sure that that's happening. Simplicity and clarity. People will only spend about 5 seconds on your website. So make sure that the top section of your website, the prime real estate, has all the important things that they need to know. Simplify your product offerings and product journey or customer journey down to just 1 or 2 different things. Give them a really easy path to follow, and make sure you have a clear CTA and people understand what you're asking them to do. And lastly, solve a problem.